Greeting, VG fans! Welcome to VG Emporium, and this is Mumba ChuWumba, jovial wrestler, warrior of the Pachuca, and your host for this day. And we're going to be talking about wrestlers and warriors. Now, if you need a little refresher, last week, Mumba was coming to ask rayjkayj if he could host an episode. But unbeknownst to him, he was being held hostage by the strange creature, Gadrelf. But with the many years of Mumba being both a wrestler and a warrior, he's sentenced to oblivion. And now you may be asking yourself, but Mumba, why are you here presenting video game music to us when you could be out in the circuits proving your prowess or off on an adventure fighting many monsters? He does enjoy going to local wrestling tourneys, but his adventuring days are quite done. Ask yourself, have you ever been pummeled by blood? It is not a fun experience. How about squaring off with deranged cultists? Meeting world-devouring eldritch horrors? How about climbing up a tree to avoid a massive regiment of kobolds with a many thousand-year-old dementia-ridden robot man? These and many other crazy things have happened to Mumba. But enough of that. We are here to speak of music, and the music that we came in with is the opening theme from Fire Pro Wrestling G on the PlayStation. The composer is a masked mystery, and it is a game where wrestlers from all over Japan come to compete against one another, as well as world famous wrestlers from the WWC and the WFW, as well as a very in-depth character creation tool so that you can create your very own wrestler to go on and become the Fire Pro Wrestling Champion. And Mumba fondly remembers those days before he was an adventurer. He would enter in fighting tournaments of not just wrestling, but of many fighting styles. And it was all in good sport, no death matches. Folks would get beaten to a pulp, but never any fatalities. And Mumba is truly fond of those memories of his younger days. But of course, adventure called! And so now we shall be called to our next trek, which is Wagon Chase from Willow in the Arcade, composed by Takashi, Tateishi. That was Wagon Chase from Willow, composed by Takaishi. And the warrior that this is linked to is not only a great melee fighter, but a master swordsman. Mumba tells you of Mad Mortigan! And at first he may not seem so great, because of his sarcastic and most times self-serving attitude, seeming to care for no one but himself. But when the time comes, the knight that is truly within himself comes out, fights for what is right, but most importantly, for those that he cares for. Facing hordes of Bavmorda's henchmen, warhounds, and even her most mightiest warrior, Kale. But Mumba cannot forget about Willow, with the little sweet baby, Alora Danon, in his care, who helped to bring Mad Mortigan to realizing his true potential, just as Mumba ChuWumba's potential was hoped to be realized by those that he journeyed with. But Mumba will tell you about them later. For now, we are to move on to a wrestler! Though he may not be the best example of a wrestler, he is truly an interesting one! This is Victory! Theme of Dasher Inobas from Ehrgeiz, God Bless the Ring! Composed by Takayuki Nakamuta! That was Victory, theme of Dasher Inobas from Ehrgeiz, God Bless the Ring, composed by Takayuki Nakamuta. And as Mumba said, Dasher is quite the interesting fellow. He is both driven by his desire to find out why his master, Karl Schneider, founder of the Ehrgeiz Championship, was murdered, but also his urge to obtain the stone that the Ehrgeiz tournament is centered around, and harness the legendary weapons power! Mumba is quite unsure where to put him on the scales of good and bad. But one thing that Mumba does know is that he looks quite sharp in a business suit, and that he can eat endless bowls of ramen. Huge! And Dasher Inobas, being a wrestler, he has his signature techniques: the Dasher Lariat, Brawl Kick, the homing body press, and his ultimate Dasher Bomb, which, if he successfully lands all his bomber techniques, he will finish it off with the Power Bomb! It is quite important for a wrestler to have his signature techniques, such as Mumba. He has the Wombo Wrangler and Fist of the Pachuca, which you had seen him use against that vile creature Gadrelf. It is always good to have a fine balance between grappling and melee. What is that? What is the Pachuca? Well, Mumba is still not quite sure what that is. Either a large body of water which my ancestors had settled around, or it was a planet of warriors of galactic renown that was betrayed and destroyed many hundreds of years ago. Mumba has heard many conflicting things in his journeys from both friend and foe, but Mumba is beginning to believe the latter story, that his bloodline goes back to those planet of legendary warriors. And speaking of legendary warriors, up next we have the Musashi legend, Lumina, from Brave Fencer Musashi, composed by Tsuyoshi Sekito. Ah yes, the Musashi legend, Lumina, from Brave Fencer Musashi, composed by Tsuyoshi Sekito. And though he may truly not be the legendary Miyamoto Musashi, renowned for his dual blade wielding, swordsmanship, and philosophy, this Musashi is truly quite still the legend, or to be more clear, a reincarnation of the legendary warrior Brave Fencer Musashi. Legendary for saving the kingdom of Alukanit, and the boy Musashi brought back as he must reobtain the legendary sword Lumina to help save the kingdom once more. And yes, though he may be tiny, he is still quite the mighty warrior, for when he obtains the legendary blade Lumina, which is a massive double-edged sword, he is able to wield it with ease, and proceeds to save the kingdom from the darkness once more. And believe it or not, Mumba ChuWumba is quite the legend himself, or his lineage is, for those who have told him that Pachuca was the planet, the home planet of the great warriors of Pachuca, that they were great warriors of renown throughout that sector of the galaxy. But as Mumba has been told, the Pachuca were wiped out by those of the Charakuga. Who the Charakuga are? Well, Mumba will explain after this next song. For every face, there must be a heel. So Mumba will play for you, Ride on the Brave, from Fatal Fury, composed by Hiroshi Matsumoto, Kazuhiro Nishida, and Toshikazu Tanaka. That was Raiden the Brave from Fatal Fury, composed by Hiroshi Matsumoto, Kazuhiro Nishida, and Toshikazu Tanaka. And as Mumba said, to every face there is a heel. And quite the heel that Raiden was. He is a very ruthless grappler, always getting into his opponent's face to prevent them from doing anything. And then if things weren't going his way, he would use very unsavory tactics, such as blowing blinding mist into his opponent's eyes. Anything to get the win. But fortunately, the defeat at one Terry Bogard had made him see the errors of his ways and made him retiring his heel persona and seeking to become a face by the name Big Bear. Now friends and fighting alongside Terry Bogard. And so now, as Mumba said, he will tell you of the Charakuga. And how does Mumba know of the Charakuga? He has faced one in battle many a times. And his name is Terakaka the Faka Charakuga. And when we first met, he sought to kill Mumba ChuWumba. But miraculously, Mumba was able to defeat him. And he fled. But we have battled many a times, bringing each other to near death. But over time, Terakaka's urge to kill Mumba has waned, and now he only wishes to prove himself the greater warrior. But he still tends to use his more violent, underhanded fighting techniques, thus truly making him the heel to the face that is Mumba ChuWumba. But that still doesn't prevent Mumba from putting his heel into Terakaka's face. But in all honesty, Mumba would not have survived that first encounter if it was not for his companions. Which brings us to the final track of the show. So Mumba ChuWumba will play for you War of Spiral from Dungeons & Dragons Shadow over Mystara, composed by Masato Kuoda. That was War of Spiral from Dungeons & Dragons Shadow over Mystara, composed by Masato Kuoda. And from what Mumba ChuWumba understands, Dungeons & Dragons is just friends getting together and role-playing adventures, very much like the ones that Mumba ChuWumba himself has done. And these characters that people role-play as, at times are similar to the companions that Mumba ChuWumba had on his adventures. Though Mumba doubts that any of these ordinary people could imagine anything like his companions. There was Verlister, an ancient ball of gas that could inhabit a full body armor and throw orb bombs and cast blood magics. And old Abernathy of the Whiskey Business Boys, a man fueled purely by his distilled alcohols through his veins. The Frog, a loot-obsessed, potion-making, tiny frog person, has saved Mumba ChuWumba's life many a times. And Couch von Charrington, the Dark Gnome, used furniture sales mage, once rained down flaming furniture on a group of goblins that surely would have ended us. And of course, cannot forget about Mumba ChuWumba's closest yet strangest adventure companion, Rube Goldberg, the many thousand-year-old robot man that Mumba had mentioned earlier. He is very strange, but he knows how to craft many things, including one of Mumba's greatest weapons, the ruined rock fist of the Moth God. And though yes, Mumba was the only bones of the group, they all were great warriors unto themselves, and helped Mumba grow, because he would have been most certainly dead without them. For where he was experienced, in the arena, in the ring, wrestling and fighting, for honor and glory, it served him not on true adventures, facing foes that had no code of honor, or fighting monsters and creatures that only knew kill or be killed. So yes, though most of my companions were either some kind of mage or inventor, but not very physically strong, they were great warriors in their own right. And nothing could change Mumba ChuWumba's mind on that. And so now, Mumba ChuWumba wishes to bid you farewell. But before he does that, there is a note that rayjkayj has left him to say that you can find VG Emporium on all the different podcatchers, and also as well the social medias as at VG Emporium, and that he will be back next week, fully recovered from his ordeal with the Gadrelf creature. And so now with that, Mumba ChuWumba truly bids you farewell.